for a what? A spot. And I think that's probably impressive activity. Because really, I think we can all realize there is no spot as such. I mean, there is a spot according to the way they're seeing things. But there is a place in this area where they're confined, a location where they feel something is focused. So to find this thing, and basically as you move through it, is to focus yourself, which is what he asked them to do in the first book. I was asked to give a lecture a couple of years back up in Washington State to a group called the Ramtha School of Enlightenment, which were a bunch of channelers. It doesn't mean they didn't swim the English Channel or something. Their leader was supposed to be a channel to some spiritual enlightenment that came from some god that she had intuited, called Ramtha or something like that. Anyway, she had all these followers from all over the world. It was quite a big retreat from people from Switzerland, Bangladesh, a lot of European countries. It must have been about 1,500 people. This thing followed to come. Scandinavian countries, as I said. And one of the things that they were doing, which, it's pretty childish because it rains a lot in Washington State. One of the things that they were doing was blindfolded archery. And, in the rain. And they'd all be standing out there in these archery setups, and they're standing there with blindfolds on, shooting at targets that they were theoretically supposed to hit. And it's a similar kind of thing, I think, to find a groove, to find a channel, to find a spot. A lot of religious people who want you to focus and concentrate do this kind of thing, and it's very entertaining for the people who are doing it, because I guess when you finally do hit the target, it must be like thrilling. Hit the target with a blindfold on. But I suppose a good archer would be able to hit it with or without a blindfold. So, in any case, so as he says here, at 7 p.m., he's sitting on the porch, and he said the thing to do, because I was tired, was to find a spot. Sitio, is that what it's called? I'm not good at Spanish. How do you pronounce that in Spanish? Sitio or Sitio?
Sitio.
Huh? Sitio? So to find this spot, and he goes through quite a lot of activity here, doesn't he? And the possibilities, he says on the next page, are infinite. And he couldn't understand why he had to do this to learn about Mescalito, but he assumed that it was to find out whether his reasons were valid for wanting to do this. So I lay on my back, put my hands under my head, rolled over in the opposite direction, covered the length of the floor. At one point it says here he's quite big on urination in this book. Because at the end of this thing, the dogs are going to urinate on him, and he's going to urinate on the dogs, and all kinds of different things like that, which are, I think, bound to impress those of us who don't usually urinate on dogs or vice versa. He's quite down to earth in matters like that. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I had been rolling for 6 hours. Don Juan came back, went around the house to the chaparral. Where is this house? Any idea? Is this in Mexico or Arizona, or is this already down in Mexico? He's still in Arizona, is he? I mean, I don't know what this chaparral looks like out there, but is there chaparral out behind shacks and things in Arizona?
Depending on where you are.
Well, there are such places, huh?
If you're in the very, very, very far south of Mexico,
there's
or not Mexico, but sorry, Arizona.
Towards the border.
Yeah, if you're towards the border, then
Nogales and places like that.
There's some stuff down there if you go south.
Yeah, so you can go out of a cabin and be walking around in the chaparral, huh? A chaparral wouldn't be in the mountains or something, or the hills. It'd be sort of flatlands, I guess, huh?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
You can find both.
So anyway, it's kind of a vivid here. So he laughed when I said I wasn't getting anywhere, and he said it didn't surprise him. I had not been using my eyes. He argued that one can feel with the eyes when the eyes are not looking right into things. So, you know, he said, you use my eyes. I rolled some more. And finally I began to focus on a point, and suddenly in my field of vision I saw a brilliantly colored with a homogeneous greenish yellow. So he does start to hallucinate or see lights or something. And you know, when people, all saints, all mystics, all people looking for visionary experience, when they start to getting this kind of thing, if they do in fact get it, it's always usually described in terms of light. Not just that you're enlightened, but that you're seeing light or something. So maybe, who knows if this is a real phenomenon or an imaginary one. But he claims he sees a homogeneous greenish light. The effect was startling, page 5. I kept my eyes fixed on that point in front of me, crawled sideways on my stomach, 1 foot at a time. Suddenly at a point near the middle of the floor, I became aware of another change in view. So he's really getting it, isn't he? You really believe he rolled around for 6 hours? Huh? He might have. How many think he did? How many think he didn't? Yeah, so it's a toss-up here in this jury. Maybe he rolled around for 1 hour or 2 hours. I can't picture this guy rolling around for 6 hours, but you never know. Because he's way beyond 6 hours now. Getting towards 8 hours, I would think, by what he's going through here. Maybe at a pure